And here we go. Good evening, America and the world. This is a worldwide broadcast. I don't mean to cut off our fans over in Europe, Asia, Antarctica,
and the Philippines.
Yeah. So I'm your host tonight. My name is Larry Abels, and I'm joined with three of the sharpest sports experts you could ever find. So let me introduce you. First, I'm gonna start with Greg Fenner Sr. How you doing, Greg?
I'm good, man. I tell you, I don't think about being a senior until I look at my son and see how old he is. Then I know I'm a senior. But it's another great day in the Commonwealth, brother.
All right. And I'm going to go to the loquacious one in the city of Indianapolis. David Burnett, how are you, Dave?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to another evening of sports excellence from this group.
And by the way, David, you were great in Allen Iverson's documentary, you know.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I didn't even know it was me.
And last but certainly not least, longtime friend from the neighborhood, Chuck. We're having our neighborhood breakfast this weekend, so I need to let you know. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So a group of us from our neighborhood get together on happy occasions as guys, and Chuck's certainly a part of that. Charles Snowden, how are you?
Mr. Abels, I'm doing fine, gentlemen. Good evening. Can't wait to have a lively discussion on the weekend sports.
Okay, we'll get started. And I might add, Chuck is also the father of my favorite NFL player, Charles Snowden III, who's been on prime time and he's been showing up big in prime time. He'll be on prime time again next week. I think Monday night, right?
Yeah, he had his best game as a pro on Thursday.
He was incredible. I'm going to speak for Chuck because he's my favorite player. Chuck probably likes him too. But 6 tackles, 5 of them unassisted, 2 quarterback hits, 1 pass defended, and a sack. And he was every time they ran near him. And I always tell Chuck that when he's in the game, they seem to run away from him. Every time they came in his area, he put them on the ground.
So Larry, I texted Chuck during the game and asked him if Charles had some gunpowder before the game.
See, don't even start it. Like he's a natural guy. no substances.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate that.
I'm going to do something a little different this week. I'm going to ask you guys a trivia question, and for our viewing audience, they don't know this question. 3 baseball players that I'm sure they all heard of: Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, and Ferguson Jenkins, all Hall of Famers. Anybody hasn't heard any of those 3?
Yes.
I've heard all of them.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell me what team did all 3 of them do they have in common that all 3 of them have played for?
The Cubs.
Cardinals.
No,
Okay, who said one at a time? Who said the Cubs?
I did.
Okay, well, Lou Brock played for the Cubs and Ferguson Jenkins played for the Cubs, but Bob Gibson didn't play for the Cubs.
Okay, so it must be the Cardinals.
Well, Lou Brock played for the Cardinals and Bob Gibson played for the Cardinals, but Ferguson Jenkins didn't play for the Cardinals.
Oh my gosh, this is
a
pretty good, Larry.
professional team, correct?
Absolutely.
Professional.
A major league team.
Major league team.
A pro team.
Well, after the Cardinals, I'm tapped out.
I thought Gibby was always with the Cardinals his whole career.
Hey, you're right, Chuck. He was. Most of his career. He played for whatever team. I'll tell you guys. Harlem Globetrotters.
You know, I was going to say that. I was going to say that. 'Cause I knew Bob Gibson played for the Globetrotters.
I would have never got that.
I was a good one, Larry. And I knew Gibby. I knew Gibby was a good baseball player because he played at Creighton, and I didn't know that Fergie and Lou Brock were basketball players as well.
You know, at one time the Harlem Globetrotters was serious. They would play pros and
They played the Lakers, George
Yeah,
Mikan. They beat them several times.
Wow.
All of you guys get an F. No, that was a tough question, everybody.
I got a C plus.
I just happened to stumble across that. You got it after I told you the answer. Yeah.
Hey, that's the way I got all my answers in school.
Hey, let's talk about NFL football now. I broke it down to a few categories. So a couple of games. First place teams faced each other: New England and Tampa. Charles, do you have anything to say about that game? Any thoughts on that game?
It's interesting. I'm struggling a little bit about anointing and giving New England their props, but clearly, because I respect Tampa so much, I've got to start recognizing the Patriots. They are a very good team. They've got a good, solid defense. Drake May is doing well. They're 8-2. Maybe they don't have the strongest schedule in the world, but kudos to them.
David, your thoughts on that game?
New England's a pretty tough team now. I think we have to take them very seriously. Tampa is on a little bit of a slide, and they may slide out of contention in just a couple of weeks.
Whoa, okay. They do have a lot of injuries, but they seem to have been winning anyway.
They didn't win last week.
Greg, what do you think?
So right now, the MVP of the Patriots is Mike Vrabel. He has turned this franchise around. I really didn't think Drake May was really that good, but boy, he looks really good now. But for me, I always knew that Travion Henderson from Ohio State, I knew he was going to be good, but man, he's really good. And I'm being very cautious. I don't want to oversell him, but that team the Patriots haven't looked that fast in a long time. They look fast against Tampa. They're playing great football right now. Great football.
What about Stephon Diggs? Anybody?
Yeah, he had a touchdown and 5 catches in that game. He looked good. He brings a little bit of an attitude to the team. Hey, Patrick, thanks for joining us, my friend. And Greg is on to something. Travion Henderson has given them that running back there. So the defense doesn't have to be on the field as long, and to shorten the clock. They look well. They look coached. And they got 2 Raiders on defense that have done a good job for them. One is Spillane, the middle linebacker. He was on the Raiders last year. And the other was the outside linebacker or outside defensive end named Clevion Cason. And he had the game-winning sack at the end. So he's doing it. I can't believe it, but they're doing well.
Let me say this about that game, though. The guy that's sliding, just like the team, is Baker Mayfield. Earlier this season, we saw him as a potential MVP. He's sliding back to the mean, to what he was, which is average. He's not bad. He's not good. He's not great. He's just okay. Kind of the way I see Aaron Rodgers now.
But David, do you know his 2 top receivers are hurt as well as their
I'm sorry, you can't. There's no excuses. You get hurt in NFL.
Well, hold on. Before you say something, Greg, hold on, David. He was 28 for 43 for 273 yards.
I don't
3
care.
touchdowns and no interceptions.
Well, I don't care what the number. I don't care what the numbers suggest. The numbers don't tell the actual story. He was hurried. He was inaccurate numerous times in critical circumstances. Baker Mayfield is not the same guy that he was several games ago. He's just not.
Actually, Baker Mayfield.
Ray, what do you think?
And they both their stats were very similar. Both quarterback stats were very close.
Well, I'm not talking stats. I'm just with my eye. He didn't pass my eye test this past week.
Yeah.
And my eyes are in pretty good shape with these big old
You
glasses.
look good. I must admit, Mr. Burnett, you look good today, baby. So it ain't the eyes today. I just think.
Well, thank you, Charles. What happened to Chuck?
So, another game that pitted 2 first-place teams against each other were the Eagles and Packers. And let me ask you a question. The first game of the week was Thursday night. It was a 10-7 game. And Greg, we're gonna start with you. This game was a 10-7 game. Did one game look like a real good contest and the other one look like a stinker, or was it just me?
No, you're absolutely right. This was the Packers-Eagles was a defensive. There was a contest. I mean, there was some good football being played. That other one, that was just a rotten stinker. It was just a stinking game. But I'm telling you, I thought that the Eagles, man, the Eagles are so consistent. They don't get rattled. And Devontae Smith is just, man, he's losing it. And I noticed that AJ, what's his name? The other
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown is starting to simmer down. He's accepting the world for what it is, the reality. Sometimes you're just not the go-to guy. And I'm telling you, Devontae's doing it. But I think that I heard him talking about how they were using Saquon sparingly to not burn him out throughout the early part of the year. But his carries are picking up. His yards is getting bigger. I agree with that. I think that's really smart to do, man. It's a really smart thing to do. But no, that was a great game. And of course, the Packers had their chances. When you fumble with, on 4th and 1 with 1:26 to play, and even after that, they had another chance. They had their chances to win that game, but the Eagles held them at bay.
I'm going to later on keep that thought in mind because I'm going to bring this up at another time in the show. Chuck, Greg touched on something about A.J. Brown simmering down. Do you think he's simmering down, or do you think the Eagles have written him off?
Well, I don't know. I can't put my finger on the Eagles. I can't put my finger on the problem because I do think they got a lot of skills. And Saquon, he had over 2,000 yards last year. And for some reason, they're not either using him or he's not the same player. I can't figure out what the deal is with the Eagles. But let me mention, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. Because my little buddy David Burnett is on the show this week. And David likes a quarterback for the Packers named Jordan Love.
I do. I still do.
Hold on, you'll have a turn. He thinks he's one of the chosen one. Well, I think he's garbage. And he hasn't shown up. He hasn't he's let that offense down. It ain't the defense in Green Bay. It is not. They're 3-3 in their last 6 games, and the offense has been stinkers. And he's the quarterback on that team. And Jacobs, the running back, is fine. It's the quarterback.
Okay, let me respond. I must.
Hey, David,
respond.
why don't you respond to Chuck?
That's who I'm responding to. You're the same man just a few minutes ago who defended Baker Mayfield. I can't take you seriously. That said,
Wait a minute.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Hey, Greg, I'm going to let you be the judge here. You're going to be the deciding vote.
20 for 36, no touchdowns, no interception, a fumble. Come on, man. What's up? They've lost their last 2 home games, Jordan Love. He makes
Jordan Love, let me finish.
The Tampa quarterback doesn't make $55 million.
The Tampa quarterback makes 33 because he had a dip in his career. One day we'll have to educate you, Charles Snowden, on how the salary scale works. And maybe your son can help you too, because he's getting ready to be a multimillionaire.
So Greg, I'm gonna ask you to pick between these 2 quarterbacks, and you can go by my rules where how much money doesn't matter what they make. It's who's playing the best. Does David need his eyes checked? He's an eye test guy, or is Chuck stats off? What do you think?
Between Mayfield and Jordan Love?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Baker Mayfield is when you got your top 2 receivers out. I mean, the dude is he's throwing to some second and third. He's throwing to some practice team guys and still holding it down. Now, Jordan Love, here's the problem with Jordan Love. Jordan Love is great today and blindfolded tomorrow. His inconsistency, he shows these sparks of greatness, and then all of a sudden it's like, is he like a D3 quarterback? Where did he come from? And he'll try to force balls in. So it's the inconsistency of Jordan Love that drives people crazy. And at $55 million, I'm not a money guy either. I don't think the money.
Oh, Lord.
But at $55 million, you can't be inconsistent. You can't. You can't be.
I kind of look at it like Greg. I mean, I think Jordan Love is up and down. I mean, roller coaster, which is going to lead me to my next section here. Let's look at some roller coaster teams. Last week, Pittsburgh steps up big time, goes into Indianapolis and wins that game. They didn't look that good against the Chargers. David, is Pittsburgh going to finish above 500 this year?
They always finish above 500, 500 or better for 18, 19 straight seasons. That said, Pittsburgh beat Indianapolis because Indianapolis gave them the game through turnovers. That's why. Pittsburgh is struggling because they have an aging, old-ass quarterback who is not even a game manager anymore. Aaron Rodgers is done. That's the problem with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh needs to find them. They'll get to the playoffs, but they'll lose it. They'll lose the first round like they always do. Pittsburgh is a good team with a great coach, but they need a quarterback. They don't have that quarterback anymore.
Chuck, what do you think of
It was
Pittsburgh?
the first game I thought Aaron Rodgers looked old. He couldn't get out the way. He seemed, I don't want to use the word scared. That's ridiculous. These are professionals. But he didn't, it wasn't the zip on the ball. The ball was fine, but he just looked slower. He looked older. We thought, by the way, when you got to go 3,000 miles, I know that's an excuse, but I do factor that in. And I also thought at the beginning of the year, the Chargers were going to be one of those special teams. They won their first 3 games against the divisional teams, and then they had a slump. But the last 3 games, they're back on track. They got a good, solid ball club, but that was the game I thought Aaron Rodgers looked old.
Greg, was it just a bad game for him, or are the Steelers a threat to win the division? Because if they don't win this division, I kind of doubt if they make the playoffs.
So they could win the division because the division sucks. They could win the division. I mean, the division is horrible. There's one team in the division above 500. One team. So listen to who the Steelers have remaining. They have the Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens twice, Dolphins, Lions, and Browns. They will barely be above 500. They will. My prediction is they'll be 9-8. I can't see them being 10-7 or 11-6. They're a 9-8 team, and one slip, one twitch, and they're 8-9. I'm telling you, this not only is the quarterback aging, but their defense. The guys that they depend on to really shut things down, those guys are getting old. Listen, I just retired from pharmaceutical sales like a month ago, but I noticed the trips that I took to the coast, they were taking more and more out of me every time. I mean, it was taking me a little bit longer to recover. I couldn't fly.
Wait a minute. You mean you're saying we're not the same as we were when we were 25?
Not even close.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm telling you, when these guys that's why they're up and down, because they can only, that energy can only last for 1 or 2 games, and then they got to go into recovery, and they may come back 2 or 3 games later and just blast off, but they just don't have that kind of juice anymore. So no, man.
While I got you here, you said you thought they would win their division because they're the only team above 500, but they're only one game ahead of Baltimore.
No, I think at the end of the day, I really think Baltimore will win the division. But
okay.
I think that the Steelers will
barely
be over 500, barely over 500.
David, what do you think? Are they coming out of that division?
Yeah, of course they are. They always do. Baltimore right now, keep in mind, Lamar Jackson is iffy with these injuries. There's a report today he's got a hamstring problem again, or some leg problem. He's kind of wearing down, so you can't guarantee anything with the Ravens at this point. They're a good team, apparently looking like they're on the uprise, but I'm not so sure. And the division is bad. The Bengals
and the Browns, they're enough to bring in.
And the Browns, it's a terrible division.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh wins by default.
I think it's just Baltimore that can catch, if anybody can catch them. And they're no great team. So Baltimore's not going to win necessarily with all of their games.
But Baltimore earlier in the year wasn't stopping anyone.
Well, they were 1-5. They were
porous.
1-5. Now they're 1 game behind Pittsburgh.
They've won 3 straight. Football is a
That's
game
so
of
much
momentum.
wishful thinking about the Ravens. I can't stand it.
No,
Chuck, why don't you weigh in, Chuck? What do you think about this?
hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. A couple of weeks ago, I told you guys they're going to win the division, and they're the best team in the AFC. That's
Clip,
how I feel about it.
clip that. Clip
So-
that. We're gonna replay
And
that
they just won
comment.
they just won their third game in a row. And they have next week they play Cleveland, then the Jets, then the Bengals, then Pittsburgh, then the Bengals, then New England.
What if they
then
lose
Green
all
Bay.
those games?
Huh?
What if they lose all those games?
But they're not. They're on the.
We don't know that. Are you a fortune teller?
No,
No,
Nostradamus. I'm not. No, but I said that. I said we'll see what happens at the end. I said they were going to come. They beat the Vikings. That was a good team last weekend. And that was their third win. And they got a week schedule ahead. Just watch.
Okay.
The thing about the NFL,
I trust
though,
you.
anyone can beat anyone. And saying that, another roller coaster team, Buffalo, beat Kansas City last week. We thought they were doing great. What happens next? They lose to Miami. Now, if we're talking about looking at somebody's schedule, how many of you guys thought they would have beat Miami? And David, I'll start with you. Thought Miami would beat Buffalo? I'll start with you. Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
Which one are you going to track? What are you going to track, Andrew?
He can't speak back to us.
That's a good point, David. My bad.
What was your question, Larry?
I'm sure you were shocked about Miami beating Buffalo. What type of team do you think Buffalo is? I mean, they looked good last week.
I'm going to use Chuck's favorite word. They're trash.
Buffalo?
Buffalo
Ooh.
can't do anything. When their quarterback is erratic, when he makes mistakes, they're weak. But they had a window of 5 or 6 years. At some point, the window starts closing, and I think that's what's going on.
But you said trash. You really think they're trash?
Well, it's just a hip word to say.
Chuck, does that sound hip to you?
No, I don't think they're trash. Here's what I think, though. 2 things. They asked Josh Allen to do a lot, to quarterback, to run, to lead, to take a hit, to all of this stuff. And I think the blows over time are starting to take an effect. I do believe that. Secondly, their defense looks slow. Everybody looks slow. They couldn't catch nobody from Miami. They was just gone. That running back from Miami had a monster day. He had like 175 rushing yards. And so I think that they're slow on defense. They don't have a sack master on defense. I don't know what happened there. They don't have a number 1 receiver. They got okay receivers, but they don't have a number 1. And I think Allen, they're just asking him to do too much.
I think a lot of people feel that way, but keep in mind, Miami has blazing speed, so they might make anybody look slow. They've had problems making people look slow this year. But
Miami beat the hell out of them.
They
They didn't just beat them.
Yeah. They throttled them.
They kicked their ass. And maybe all of the criticism heaped at the coach and the quarterback, they decided, look, let's just play ball. It could be that simple because it's any given Sunday league.
there you go. And now let me move to you, Greg. What do you think about Buffalo?
I think they're in trouble. I think they're in deep trouble. They have remaining Buccaneers, Texans, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Browns, Eagles, and Jets. Those are some tough teams to play down the stretch. They're 6-3. They started out on fire, and I'm telling you, they're in trouble. They're going one direction. The Patriots are going another direction. So I think they're going to have problems in the playoff. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to have problems because their momentum is awful right now. They got no momentum.
So how did you feel last week when they beat Kansas City?
Well, Kansas City's on the skids too. I mean, Kansas City's on the skids.
Well, Greg is right about one thing, and this is a legit question. Who is the best team in the AFC? I don't
The
really
Indianapolis
know.
Colts. Just stop it.
Well,
The Indianapolis Colts.
Well, let's move. That's a perfect segue. The Colts bounced back. They showed a lot of heart in the game against the Falcons, who have a pretty decent defense. But gosh, wasn't Jonathan Taylor running over him, David? What did you? You had a bird's eye view of that.
244 yards rushing.
Hey, David's going to be a
30
while. Can I go get some water? David's going to be a while.
Oh, it's going to be like that. It's like that tonight.
No, you deserve it. You deserve it.
244 yards rushing on 32 carries.
Was impressive.
You know, even overcoming the quarterback who's starting to fall back to the mean. But the Indianapolis Colts, they got a tight end, Tyler Warren. Oh,
Big
my
catch
goodness.
down the stretch. Big catch.
He's a future Gronkowski. The defense is playing relatively well. And even though the game against Atlanta, which is a no-good team, was close, it's an any given Sunday league, and they were playing in Berlin. There's a lot to think about when you go to Berlin with Adolf Hitler, with the Olympics,
Really?
that stadium.
Both teams
coming
were
from a
playing.
different angle.
It wasn't like one team was playing in Berlin and the other team was playing in Atlanta. They were both playing.
Atlanta was playing in Atlanta.
And one was thinking about Hitler, and one was thinking about Jesse Owens, right?
That's right.
Greg,
Yeah.
what did you think of that game? Atlanta has a good pass defense. I think people don't realize that. And they seem like they bought their A game.
Oh, listen, I think first of all, it was a great bounce back game, and Jonathan Taylor just went nuts. I mean, he showed who he was. But I think also it gave me confidence that the Steelers game was one of those any given Sunday games for the Colts. It was any given Sunday, and that was not what we saw that Sunday. Was like everything that could. I haven't seen the Colts turn the ball over that as much as they did against the Steelers in any other game this year, and I think teams need games like this from time to time just to remind them that this stuff ain't easy. This if it was easy, everybody would do it. So they play. I listen. I'm a Colts believer. I think that's the best team in the AFC. But
Thank you, Greg. You know a lot.
I think they're the best. I think they're the best team in the AFC.
Chuck,
how about the NFL?
Well, this is Chuck's turn now.
Thank you.
Bounce back game for the Colts.
Well,
And are they the best team in the AFC?
Please. Look, David is right about one thing, and I have to tip my hat to him about that, and that is that Jonathan Taylor. It was really the first game. That's the second game that I've watched the Colts from beginning to end. And I tell you something, Taylor is special. Because everybody knows he's going to get the ball. Mm-hmm. And like Larry mentioned, they've got some people up front in that Falcon line. They had 7 sacks in that game, but defensively, in terms of stopping the run, they couldn't do it. And so I give him credit for that. But I thought the 2 keys of that game were the special team returns by the punt returner and the kickoff guy late in the game to put them in good field position. I thought you're talking about trash. I thought Danny Dimes was garbage, except he made a big run on 3rd and 20. He picked up 19 yards on that run. There were some times he ran the ball, but look, he had 3 fumbles, a couple of interceptions. He was pleased. That team was fortunate because I thought Penix, you talking about another person that's trash, I thought Penix and that Falcon offense was terrible in the 4th quarter and overtime.
Didn't Penix play for Indiana University?
Yeah, but he was so bad.
I just thought I would bring that up.
But he was they got talent on that team. They just
they do.
It's Penix. It's that quarterback is horrible.
He's not horrible.
They play well some weeks. Then some weeks they get didn't Carolina beat them 30-0?
30-0. Then they came back the next week and beat our Commanders.
Yeah.
But I mean, Larry, come on, that 4th quarter and overtime with Penix, that was about as bad as it gets in terms of playing the quarterback.
They need to go back to 2-a-days in the summer. That'll fix a whole lot of problems.
Let me ask you guys a question. Top 5 NFL teams, regardless of conference. Greg, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I got Eagles number 1, and the only reason I don't have Colts as number 1 is because the Eagles are the defending NFL Super Bowl champs. So you can't put a team ahead of them until they're dethroned. So
yes, you can.
Eagles, you can. Eagles, Colts, Lions, Patriots, and I'm stuck at number 5 between the Seahawks and the Rams, but I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Greg, you can't make up rules for our show, man. You know.
Yeah, I know. It's a bad idea.
David, what's your top 5?
Number 1, right here in Indianapolis, the Colts. Number 2, the Seahawks. Number 3, the Rams. Number 4, New England. Number 5, Philadelphia.
Chuck, your top 5.
You know I'm gonna be different. So I have Philly. I do have Seattle. I do have the Rams. I have the Lions, and I have the Ravens. The Ravens are my only AFC team.
Well, you don't have Indianapolis?
You didn't say Patriots?
Please.
Holy.
We'll see by the end of this. When this whole when we get to the end of this thing, we'll see. You guys.
We've already got a winning record. We're guaranteed a winning record.
I'm going to go on a little rant before I ask you guys the next question. And then I may even have a trivia question or two for you guys.
You know you don't trust Daniel Jones, David, down the stretch.
Just like David, I get sick of the MVP since the turn of the century, which is there've been 25 winners so far. Only 4 of them have been non-quarterbacks. Okay, it's crazy to me. But then what they do every year, they have an offensive player of the year who's not a quarterback for the last 7 or 8 years. So I have a problem, if the guy's the MVP, should be the offensive player of the year if he's a quarterback. But who's going to be the MVP this year? Chuck, I'll start with you.
If the season stopped today.
Right.
Today,
that's at this point.
I'd give it Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, my.
If the season stopped today.
Greg,
and he would edge out Matthew Stafford, but I'd give it to
who's been playing well lately, especially lately, last 3 games. You mentioned that last week. He's been playing well, yeah. But he's throwing 12 touchdown passes the last 3 weeks.
He's had 3 straight, first person in the history of the NFL to have 3 consecutive games with 4 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions.
That's right. Greg, MVP.
So I got to go with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, and I said it last week, I think, because I think Saquon should have gotten it last year. I think Saquon Barkley should have been MVP last year. It's this quarterback thing. I'm really starting to get pissed off that it's always a quarterback because, Jonathan Taylor is all the difference in the world.
This is the David Burnett rule that you're talking about. So
thank you, Larry, for bringing back the concept.
We know you've only been with us for a year.
Hey,
but
Larry,
who would
you have, Larry?
Well, I got to let David go first.
Well, I know. We know who David's going to say.
Jonathan Taylor deserves the MVP, just like Saquon Barkley deserved it last year. Yep. I've been talking about this ever since this show has been on. I'm tired, sick and tired of a quarterback always getting the credit. MVP is supposed to be the so-called best player, best football. That's bullshit.
That's FCC on line 1.
FCC be damned. Come at me.
They seem a little emotional about this, Chuck.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. I'm sorry. They should, they deserve MVP. I hope the trend continues. No injuries occur. That's all I can say.
So, Chuck, to answer your question, I would go with Jonathan Taylor, too. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was sure Barkley was going to win it last year. You can check some of our tapes last year. So,
the man leaped over a player's head backwards. What else you got to do, man?
The last 7 offensive players of the year, none of them have been quarterbacks,
because they didn't deserve it.
We've had Barkley, McCaffrey, Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, some guy named Michael Thomas for the Saints. I didn't wide receiver for the Saints.
Right.
Yeah. Then Patrick Mahomes won it for him. So, trivia question. Who was the last non-quarterback to win the award? Chuck, I'll start with you. Who do you think?
The guy from the Rams, the defensive lineman from the Rams, Aaron somebody?
Aaron Donald, no.
Aaron Donald?
No.
David, you shaking your head no. Who do you think it was?
As a running back, what's his name? Running back for the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, I think, let me check.
2012.
I check with the judges. Yeah, he's right. Adrian Peterson.
Wow. AP.
Wow.
Don't,
In
don't mess with
2012,
me.
he got the year right. He's getting a bonus. So to
That's
really
pretty
be
good.
sharp,
But
who
I
is
forgot his name.
AP.
this, you gave enough information. We could accept that.
Thank
He
you.
beats his kids with his belts and stuff.
So
Not me.
who
That's
was
Adrian
Adrian
Peterson.
Adrian Peterson won it in 2012. Now we got to go back to 2006 for the next guy. Who's the next guy that won it? That was a non-quarterback?
I know who it was.
Mark Mosley.
No, Mark Mosley. Mark Mosley was.
I think he was joking, David.
The running back
He
for
did win-
Seattle
he did win one
Seahawks.
year.
Running back for Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks. He won the MVP that year.
Talking about Sean Alexander.
That's correct.
Well, you're close. He won it in 2005. He was going to be the next question.
Oh, okay. The running back for the Chargers.
David's on a roll here. Okay.
Wow. This stuff.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Wow.
And the fourth person that's a non-quarterback won it in 2000.
Mark, what's his name? Greatest show on turf. Running back.
Oh yeah.
You know what? We got to give an award to David.
He's good. He's really good.
Falk.
Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk. Yeah.
Marshall Faulk.
San Diego State.
That's all the trivia questions, David.
Wow.
We got to give David a hand. He boom,
ran
boom,
the
boom.
table. Oh, he ran the table.
Well, I guess when
Hey,
you got this
running
thing
back.
I guess when you got this thing about quarterbacks winning it too much, those things might stick in your mind.
Hey, I was a mediocre running back, so I always admire running backs.
We're going to switch to college football now. How about those Hoosiers? Chuck, we'll start with you. A lot of heart, almost like to me, like the Colts. A lot of heart, challenged by a team, came through. Your thoughts on that game with Penn State, Chuck?
So, we this group, because we're an older group, we remember Dwight Clark and the catch, right? Montana, etc. From now on, when they say the catch, that's what I'll be talking about.
Omar Cooper.
That play at the end was incredible. However, there were 3 or 4 other catches leading up to that play on that whole drive. That was like a 90-yard.
Yeah.
That was they were all big catches and acrobatic catches. And the dream season continues. And I told you guys on the show, I was always worried about that game. And the reason I was worried is because Penn State has 4 and 5 star players, and this is a long season. So our second tier players, because we've got some injuries now, aren't as good. You know what I'm saying? Our depth is not like other teams. So I was worried, but somehow we survived. And we got a big one this weekend against Wisconsin in Bloomington.
Before we go a little further, I got to give Andrew some props because he knew the answer to the trivia question.
Oh, he did. Look at him. Hey, Andrew, nice suit too.
Nice suit. It's always the guy in a nice suit that gets everything right.
David, your thoughts on the Indiana Penn State game?
Omar Cooper doesn't get enough credit for that catch. That's the catch of the century. That's the catch of the century for a college player. I know Fernando Mendoza is probably in line for the Heisman Trophy, but that was almost a throwaway pass. It wasn't. He didn't intend to hit Cooper like that. Cooper just made an outstanding play. I just want to speak up for Omar Cooper, who doesn't get enough credit. It's always the quarterback, and I like IU football. I'm cheering for them, Chuck. 10-0, even though they do have the worst record in college.
They brought it up on the show too the other day. Look, I want one more quick thing about David's point. The elevation, when they slow that down, and the elevation of Cooper to get up to make that catch and then to get down to get his foot down. But for that referee to stand right there focused to see where that toe tapped, I thought the referee deserved a lot of credit on that.
Absolutely.
I never give referees.
We'll give him a paycheck for doing his job.
I never give referees credit. So,
your thoughts on that, Greg?
So I don't know if it was more fun to watch the catch or listen to Gus Johnson lose his mind.
Oh, he did.
I mean, he lost his mind, and that's what you love in sports commentators, man. I mean, he just lost his mind. But I'm a slightly disagree with David just a little bit. I think that's exactly where Mendoza meant to put that ball, because all those balls, they were out of the reach of any defender. So I mean, he was just counting on his guy to make a super catch, but he put that place. The only person who could get that ball was Cooper. That was the only person who could get it. But the NFL scouts, I guarantee you, went crazy. Cooper didn't just get one foot down. He toe tapped both of those feet got down. And that's what these guys look for. I mean, that was an NFL, that was a pro play. That was a pro play. It wasn't just a great college football play. But I just, when the coach says, I've seen a lot of stuff in my time, I ain't never seen nothing like that. That's a big deal. Coach said he ain't never seen nothing like that.
One thing to mention, I'm patting myself on the back. One of my sports guys who I worked with for a couple of years, Gus Johnson.
Yep.
I remember when he talked about wanting to be a play-by-play announcer back in the day, 30 some years ago, and he became that. He's fantastic.
David, I told you.
Started off with the Wizards, with the Bullets.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing him at first.
Well, his first play-by-play was Bowie State and Howard.
Okay.
Man, he's become an institution in college football. He had.
I ran into him in Las Vegas a year or so ago at a basketball game that he was doing when Woody was coaching IU. And I talked to him about David. He said, "Oh, my man, David, please tell him I said hello." And he gave me the number to give to David if he wanted to reach out to him and so forth. So he definitely remembered who David was, and he started smiling when I mentioned his name.
Well, thank you, Chuck, for remembering.
That's how I felt when I saw him on Allen Iverson's documentary. I saw
David,
smiling. Institutions in local news. David was an institution in the DMV. He was.
But sometimes his take on this show, I think he's concussed. I don't know.
Moving on. One team that I don't hear people talk about a lot is Texas A&M. Chuck, how good are they?
They're good. They really are good. And they have the quarterback. In fact, Greg mentioned to us earlier this year that when they played Notre Dame, I think they got screwed on a call because there was a holding. So anyway, Texas A&M is really good. We'll find out how good they are because they have a test left. They have to play Texas the last game of the season. If they pass that test, they're going to be right there in the mix.
What do you think of them, Greg?
I think they're a solid college playoff team, but I don't see them winning the championship. I can't see them getting by either IU or Ohio State, but they'll contend. I think when I look at the games that they beat Auburn by 6, they beat Arkansas by a field goal. So they're squeaking by some teams that aren't that great, and they should be crushing these folks. If you're going to contend with Ohio State and Indiana, you got to crush Arkansas. You got to crush these other. You got to put Auburn. You got to put Auburn to sleep. You got to make them beg for mercy if you're going to coach Indiana. You know what I mean? So yeah, they'll
mention Big Ten teams. What about if they had to play Alabama or Georgia?
They don't.
So Alabama, they I don't think they early season Alabama, maybe. Late season Alabama? No, that's a very different team. That's a very different team. Yeah.
David, how do you think they rank against the Big Ten and the SEC teams?
I think they're a pretty good team, but there's something about Texas A&M every single year. I know it's a whole different world, different players, different coaches. I just don't trust them. I just can't see, and the uniforms suck.
By the way,
I forgot looks were important to you.
That's important.
They're important to me in some things.
But they have a chance. They're undefeated. They're number 3 in the country. They have to be taken seriously. And I don't think we really put enough focus on Ohio State. I'm not so sure that Ohio State is as good as number 1. I'm not sure of that.
It'll be interesting. These playoffs ought to be interesting.
They have a little quarterback. This guy, Marcel Reed, for them. He's a tough little quarterback that Texas A&M has. He's only a sophomore. So it's going to be interesting down the stretch when the big boys have to play each other.
Yeah.
I kind of look at them kind of like I think people looked at Indiana. You know, they're good, but we're not sure. And it might be because of the pedigree, which really has nothing to do with this year.
Right.
But it's kind of, you know, I don't know what to think of them yet. That's why I was trying
Signetti, they asked Signetti that question too, Larry. They said right before the Penn State game, they said, Sig, you guys have never beat Penn State here, blah, blah, blah. And he said, wait a second, these guys ain't never played Penn State.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Doesn't matter what happened back in 1984, right? They could probably beat the 1984 team anyway. I want to switch to something that keeps coming up.
Speaking of Arkansas, I just saw where James Franklin looks like he's going to take the job at Arkansas, the head football coach at Arkansas.
Speaking of switching gears a little bit, I want to touch on betting because it seems like every week is something. This week, two Major League Baseball players, Emmanuel Chase and Luis Ortiz. Emmanuel Chase is a all-star relief pitcher. All right. They got caught up, and they may face 20 years in jail. Is anybody? I mean, I've never heard anything like that. I see people getting kicked out of the league or something like that. And what they're charged with is essentially they told someone a certain pitch would be a ball. How many times have we seen pitchers waste the pitch? And other things that a pitcher either be faster or slower than 94 miles an hour. Changeup or fastball. I mean, since the guys are all, especially Chase is an all-star pitcher, I don't think he's blowing games. He's generally considered one of the best relievers. He's in Cleveland. Do we have a problem? I don't think they've cost any games. There's no evidence of that. But do we have a problem with the integrity of sports? And David, I'll start with you.
Well, the integrity of sports has always been in question, whether it's a fixed boxing, whether people who believed in professional wrestling. How about the Black Sox scandal of the late 19 teens? So how about Pete Rose? Well, now we can at least know who's doing what based on the fact that gambling has been legalized all over the country and electronic systems can catch different patterns of betting. It's not going to go away. ESPN just is getting rid of its ESPN Bet and aligning itself with one of the others,
like FanDuel or something. Yeah,
not FanDuel, the other one, the other big one.
Yeah, I can't think of it right now.
But betting is not going away. Legalized gambling is not going away. Sports betting is not going away. It's actually in there in its place. It's designed to kind of catch people. What needs to happen in all of the sports leagues is these guys need to be banned permanently from the sport. Getting rid of them for a year, 2 years, a hand slap, even a monetary fine of some mega $1 million is not good enough. Put them out of the sport forever.
I think that generally happens, but these guys, they're like facing 20 years. That was shocking to me. Greg, your thoughts on betting, and is it a problem with integrity?
It's a huge problem. And so what these guys are accused of is basically talking to some clown in a betting parlor saying, okay, I'm going to throw a ball this pitch. Are you ready? So if they have conclusive evidence that shows that was actually what was happening, 20 years is still ridiculous. There's no universe where a year in jail. No, we're not even talking about jail. We're talking about sport. Now, so I go back to the commissioners, the Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA. How did these clowns think this was going to play out if you legalize bet? I mean, they've ushered in a whole new era, partnering with these bets, these betting platforms, and now you're telling the players you're a scumbag if you bet. Like, it's I think it's ridiculous. And here's the thing. Old Nick Nolte movie, Blue Chips. You know why they did it? One thing, dirty, rotten, stinking money. They couldn't resist the money. That's why they're doing it. And I just refuse to have all this blowback on the players and treating them like they're some kind of, human traffickers because they got caught in a stupid. It was if these allegations prove true, that is a pretty stupid bet. If you're making millions of dollars, this kid won like $37,000. What was his cut? 10,000? Come on, man. I mean, it's a stupid thing, but yeah,
Well,
Greg,
but Greg,
I just wanna
players
share
have
with
got to
you,
be
Greg.
stop being so stupid.
no, that's true. True.
Hey, Greg, I'm gonna share with you. I'm an economics major. One thing that we learned in economics was when people have money and they see what thousands and millions of dollars could do, no matter how much money they have, they want more of that.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. I mean, but at the bottom line, though, to even mention that these charges could bring a sentence of 20 years,
Yeah, that seemed crazy to me.
stupid. That is just stupid. All the things that are going on in this world, we got people stealing in government in plain sight that ain't even getting indicted, and you're gonna give this man 20 years for throwing a curveball in the dirt? Come on.
And apparently not losing games because he's an all-star. He's an all-star.
Hey,
What would be a bigger penalty would be to bar them not only from the sport, no longer play again, but you can't enter any sporting arena. You can't be anywhere around sports at all. That'll do the trick. That'll help.
Exactly,
That'll
because
help.
one thing we know, even when nothing crushed Pete Rose more than being banned from the game. That crushed him. I think Pete Rose would have preferred to go to jail than being barred from the Hall of Fame and from baseball. So these guys, no matter how much of a dirtbag you think they are for betting, they love the game. You know, all of the basketball players that got in this, football, these guys, they love this game.
Chuck, do you think it impacts the integrity of the game?
Yeah, sure, it does. And I don't know how they can put the genie back in the bottle. And in fact, it's an old story because those guys got kicked off the Indians or Guardians earlier in the year. So I don't even know why it all happened the other day, or that they presented it like it was a brand new story, because it was an old story.
Yeah.
So, back to Pete Rose, he was betting on his team to win. I always used to have a problem with that. I'm sure I'm betting on my team to win. Anyway,
we'll have to take his word for it. But
right.
But I mean, I think David touched on a good point, because now that it's legal, people can see where people bet. All right. But with these guys, they were even betting. One pitcher got the other one into it and said, yeah. So one on side said, yeah, I'm going to throw a ball.
Right.
It was crazy. But this is where it's bothering me. Earlier, I said we're going to come back to the Eagles game. I'm watching the game Monday night. The Eagles have the ball with about 2 minutes and 38 seconds
that
left.
fourth down play.
No, well before that.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Series before that. They run it on first down. Green Bay calls timeout. Green Bay has 2 more timeouts. The Eagles throw 2 passes. If they run it twice, Green Bay has to use all of their timeouts when they kick the ball back to them. They threw 2 incomplete passes, ended up pointing back. So Green Bay still had their 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning when they got the ball back.
Yeah.
Then we get to what you're talking about, Chuck. On fourth down, they're around the 40-yard line, 35-yard line. Punt the ball down to if you're not going to try a 50-some-yard field goal, punt the ball down there. They throw an incomplete pass. I'm sitting there watching the game, and I was saying this like, are the Eagles trying to lose this game?
Yeah.
But you know what? Then all of a sudden he hit me. Maybe he was trying to throw the game. I don't know. I don't know a better reason. I don't know a more obvious reason than maybe he had some money on this.
Yeah.
It's nowhere in the world Green Bay should have got the ball back that second time.
No. Absolutely.
You know, I think you hit on something, Larry. The question is, when we see a questionable play, when we see a questionable action, we wonder now.
Yep.
That's the real harm of betting now, is the question of, and particularly the proposition bets.
Yeah.
That's really the prop bets are the problem. And for any of our viewers that may not understand this, prior to it becoming legal, you normally had to do a parlay, which means, like, if you bet with a bookie, you would have to pick 3 or 4 things, maybe 3 or 4 games against a point spread, some maybe over, under, things like that. The prop bets are these single things with players like in Cleveland playing baseball, that they would throw a ball less than 95 miles on a given time. If they got rid of the prop bets, I think that would do a world of good.
Yeah.
The problem is prop bets bring in a lot of money for these betting things, and the betting companies probably don't want to get rid of it, and neither do the leagues because they're getting paid with it. So
My only last quick comment about the money in the betting is Otani, right? Otani's interpreter or whatever the hell that guy was.
Yeah.
He went to jail, and I'm still not sure we, the public, have got the full 411 on that
Good
situation.
point.
That thing was shady, and I think it's still shady, even though that guy's sitting in jail. What a friend that guy is.
hey, remember Barry Bonds is somebody went to jail for him.
For the steroid thing.
Yeah. Probably got taken care of.
Oh,
All
no
right.
doubt.
Interesting conversation on betting. And again, I don't want to say, when I said, is he trying to lose a game? At first, I was just saying, because I thought those plays were so ridiculous. But when I started thinking about it, I'm like, whoa, maybe it's impacted me. I might have asked that question with or without betting, though. The next thing we're going to talk on before we wrap up is firings. 2 significant firings this week. First one, Dable with the Giants. Greg, we'll start with you. Any thoughts on that removal?
Yeah, I called this one a few weeks ago. He went into the season on the bubble, and when the Broncos had that history-making comeback, that was the first shoe to drop, and then they lost again on a comeback. When you can't hold a lead, it's that means you're losing the confidence of everyone, and so you got to go. So yeah, I'm not surprised Daboll got fired. He came in the season on the bubble.
Chuck, what do you think?
These in-season firings are always a little weird for me. That guy was Coach of the Year in 2022. I don't know. Look, the one time I watched the Giants from beginning to end was when they played the Eagles and they had Scatterboo and Dart. And boy, I thought they looked really good that night. So I thought he had turned the corner, but apparently he has not.
David, your thoughts on that firing?
Ironically, I think his handling of Jackson Dart, that's Coach Brian Daboll, his handling of Jackson Dart may have been the end of his coaching career in New York, because Jackson Dart has had 4 concussion protocols in this season, 4, and then when he went into a medical tent when he wasn't supposed to.
That's the game I watched.
I mean,
come out.
Is my quarterback ready?
Rub some dirt on
at some point, he made himself look bad, and he's got to go. He'll be fine later on as an offensive assistant in future. As a head coach, he's done with that. I'd be shocked if he's ever a head coach again.
The speculation about him going to Penn State. David, you touched on a number that I was thinking about. 4 is his unlucky number because it was 4 times Dart has been in concussion protocol, and they've blown 10-point leads 4 times in the fourth quarter, 4 times this season.
Well, they have some potential there.
Yeah.
But Jackson Dart, you just don't know if his brains are turning to mush already early.
Now, the last thing I'm going to ask you about the last firing before we wrap it up. Nico Harrison was fired by the Dallas Mavericks. Greg, how do you feel about that? And does the timing seem strange to you?
Bizarre. So first of all, Nico Harrison will always be known for the man who traded Luka. That's what he'll always be known for, even though we all know he couldn't have done that without the owner. He couldn't. There's no way, if the owner disagreed with that, he would have fired him then. He said, you know what? You're nuts. If you're going to fire Luka, if you're going to trade Luka, you're fired. Get out. He would have fired him then. So they all agree with it. He was just the fall guy. The unfortunate thing is, as a GM, you got to take the bitter with the sweet. Now, nobody talks about the players that he brought in that got them in the playoffs. That got them to the finals. Nobody's talking about that. But what everybody remembers is, boy, he traded Luka, and the body that they were trying to get Luka to get in Dallas, he now has in LA. So what did LA do different, that forced him to get in shape? One thing I heard on Inside NBA tonight that made me laugh harder than I've laughed in a long time. One of them said it's harder to be a Mavericks fan, it's tougher to be a Mavericks fan than a $2 steak. Being a Mavericks fan is tougher than a $2 steak. I'm like, that is hilarious. And it is, I mean, right now, and look, they're whining about street clothes being out of the game all the time. I don't even call him by his name. I call him street clothes. He's always in street clothes.
That's David's favorite player, Greg. So take it easy.
Yeah,
Well, let's let David have a chance to comment on his favorite player.
You know,
Don't get me started on Anthony Davis. Oh my
is
God!
that his name? I thought his name
Was the firing? You think it was justified, David? And did the timing seem suspicious to you?
Look, people, great players get traded. Wilt Chamberlain got traded 3 times. If Wilt Chamberlain can be traded, if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can be traded, Luka Doncic can be traded. So it's garbage. I'm with Greg, and I also agree with Charles Barkley, who was on earlier tonight, talking about the owner had to have been involved. They have made this man into a scapegoat, period. And Luka Doncic, overweight, out of shape. He was cannon fodder to be traded. But now you trade him for street clothes. No, that's where the problem is. If you'd have gotten more of a bargain out of that trade, it would have been worth it. But Anthony Davis has played 14 games total since he's been traded to Dallas.
Yeah, I heard the first game.
Unbelievable. He's hurt every year.
Except for the bubble. When they went in the bubble. Look, I thought we knew it was coming, right? We knew it was coming. The only way he could have saved himself is if that team had progressed in terms of Dallas Mavericks, had a winning record and so forth. But with a 3-8 start, Kyrie's still out, AD's not there. It's just, and the crowd every single night are chanting "Fire Nico." He couldn't weather that storm.
I mean, let me ask you guys something. If the crowd was not every game chanting "Fire Nico," because they started that last year.
Yep.
Last season, excuse me. If that hadn't happened, the guy would probably still be in the job.
If AD was healthy, or if Kyrie didn't go down,
Yeah, Chuck, you talking on because they're trying to play Cooper Flag at point guard. He's not a point guard. If they have Kyrie, they might be looking a lot better.
Right.
I know for a fact. I shouldn't say I know for a fact, but a lot of times when you your management wants you to do something, you are the fall guy. But they should stick with the hey Phyllis, how you doing?
Hey Phyllis.
Hilarious tonight.
Hilarious tonight.
They need to stand. Ownership should not. I don't think they should have fired him. I think the timing is because the crowd is screaming fire him. Yep. There's nowhere in the world he trades him without their consent. Matter of fact, it probably was their direction to trade him.
It's the perfect storm too, because Luka has looked great in LA. And if I was a Dallas fan, I would be pissed off. But he's the face of the person they're being pissed off at, when in fact he's not really the right person.
But isn't this somewhat revisionist thinking? There was a lot of criticism of Luka's physical conditioning, his being injured from time to time throughout his brief career in the NBA. So it wasn't like this was
5 straight years, first team all NBA.
But this reminds me of something. This reminds me of something, David. At one time, and it's the same thing. They didn't do enough. They didn't shop him around enough. They tried to do it quickly. So if I'm gonna blame anything, I think that's it. And I still think it was management. It reminds me of the Washington Wizards had Chris Webber.
Whoa.
And they traded for 2 guys that are young compared to us, but not compared to basketball. Richmond and Otis Thorpe. Mm-hmm. Webber was in the prime of his career, just getting to the prime of his career. And for a non-basketball reason, which I think the same thing with Luka, because both of them were performing on the court. Washington didn't even shop him around.
We had a running joke here in Washington. I'm sorry about this, Wes Unseld. I'm sorry. We used to say that the front office of the Wizards or any other team in the NBA, when they went to lunch, they would tell the secretary, if Wes Unseld calls and makes an offer, a trade
Take
offer,
it.
you can accept it.
You don't even have to run
You
another
don't even have to check with us. Just accept it.
God bless Wes.
Oh, God bless Wes.
Okay, it's time for our closing comments. Chuck, we'll start with you because you don't want anybody to steal your thunder, man. So,
Real, I'll try to do it real quick. Look, we had several deaths here recently. We lost Paul Tagliabue. We lost Michael Sugar Ray Richardson of the Knicks. And we also saw, and this is what I want to spend a second on, Lenny Wilkens. Lenny Wilkens passed. He was 88 years old. He was the 6th pick in the draft in 1960. The first 2 players in that draft, by the way, was Oscar Robertson and Jerry West. He had a long career as a player. He was a great coach. In fact, in 1979 team, he was coaching the Supersonics. They beat our Washington Bullets, and he had a downtown Freddie Brown and DJ and that crew. And so he got into the Hall of Fame for his basketball playing career, a little left-hand point guard from New York. He got in for his coaching, and he was also an assistant coach on the Dream Team, and he got in for that as well. So he got in 3 separate times. Just a classy guy. No one's ever said anything bad about Lenny Wilkens, so I just wanted to acknowledge him on our show.
yeah, in the Hall of Fame as a coach and a player. Never coached the Hall of Fame other than 1 year when he was player coach and he coached himself.
Right.
Great guy.
Great guy.
Greg, any closing comments?
I don't have any closing comments.
Dave, any closing comments?
Just something to add about Lenny Wilkens. He was the 2nd African-American coach in the NBA after Bill Russell. Just
Wow.
FYI. And he was a great player, left-handed. He could handle.
He good.
Great call, Charles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Nicely done.
Okay. Well, I don't have any closing comments either. So I want to thank you guys. You guys did a great job. Thanks for allowing me to come up with some trivia questions. Mr. Burnett, I'm truly impressed about you. Yeah.
I'm almost wondering if he got the questions before the show.
No one got the questions.
Nah.
All right. Well,
When it's a running back, I know what's going on.
After 6 years, I think Phyllis's comment brought joy to a smile to my face when Phyllis said, "Tonight, you guys were very entertaining. You guys were funny." I like that.
I love it.
okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Real Fellas Talk Sports.
Good job. Another good time.